Attention! All things shared in this video are simply the opinions of the Unexplained Files. The following footage is not tampered with, and all of the events and reactions are unplanned and genuine.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Unexplained Files. If this is your first time with us, we want to welcome you to the channel. We are, in fact, indisputably the best place for paranormal content in the UK, and if anyone disagrees, they haven't found our channel yet. Today we're going to be just chatting about random shit. Usually when we do a podcast, we have topics that we cover. I think so far we've done
werewolves.
We've done, werewolves and dogmen. We've done...
What was the other one?
I forgot what the last one was.
I know we was talking about other paranormal stuff, weren't we? Like our experiences.
That was it, yeah. We talked about like our experience in the paranormal, where we came where it started, and where we wanted to go from there. That's how memorable it was. We actually forgot what it was. It was that good of a conversation. But yes, welcome to our Emporium of the Unknown. This is all things that, and if I fail to make a really good background, it's literally just our logo, the exact same logo, and we're going to look like twats saying that, but it's fine because you've got to be ambitious. This is our new setup for the podcast. It may not be permanent because, when I go back and review it, I might not be happy with how it turns out, but for now, this is the podcast setup, and we may be able to do more stuff like this. We're bringing back the green screen for obvious reasons. The Emporium. We are now in the Emporium, and this is where we are.
Deep down in the Emporium.
Yeah, the depths of the unknown. I like the idea that we have, over the years, I say years, we've not even been going for a year yet, but in time, over the years, we would have collected a vast collection of weird things, theories, and unknown things, and who knows, it will be stored here in the Emporium. There we go. But yeah, I think a good one for tonight. What was I thinking? I was thinking downstairs. I was like, this is how I can start it off. Yeah, well, we're nearly a year now. We've almost... Technically, the channel is a year old.
It is,
because
yeah.
we started about a month before we
set the channel up.
Yeah, we set the channel up a month before we posted our first video, and we're closing in to the year mark. We've not hit the 1,000, unfortunately, but we're not far off the 500. I can't complain. I'm pretty happy with where we started, and I've got to say, we're going to be going back to our first investigation location in maybe not next video, but the following one, to make sure it kind of lines up with that. And looking back on the time we've spent doing this, fucking hell, what a time we've had. What a collection of events. I just remember that first investigation. We didn't know what we were doing, how to start it. In fact, it started because we wanted to go out and test the tools. Yeah. Test the equipment, test the cameras, and we went out and just filmed over, how long were we out there for, an hour or two?
Yeah, something. Yeah, it's probably just over an hour.
Just wandering about our most open and in the middle of a place location we've ever been to.
Yeah, it's right on the edge of the town, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say on the edge. It just is in the town.
In the town.
Yeah. Granted, it's not right in the centre, but it's not far off it, and it's just an mad old church from the 1400s. Just in the centre of this small little group of houses by one of the the areas they use for a youth centre as well. I'm pretty sure that side building up that alleyway is a youth centre. So you go there and there's drugs, paraphernalia strewn about the place. There's bottles of fuck knows what. There's fucking cigarette packets and booze bottles, everything. And somehow, I think if we go there, when we go there again, we'll be more nervous to do it that time than this time. Yeah. And it's not because of the equipment, it's just because I think we've gotten used to the luxury of being able to film either in a house or in a spot. The hairiest location was the fucking...
dairy, wasn't it?
The dairy was scary, but that was... Actually, there were people there, so that was scary. But the scariest one, realistically, the most dangerous one was the old school. Where nothing illegal was happening because of mother watches and being like, why do you keep saying that this was going on? But there was some
interesting aromas.
Extracurricular activities going on there.
Certain areas.
So we haven't gone back, though the temptation has been somewhat there, but not massively, not enough to act on it. I don't know if I would go back there, to be honest. As cool as looking back on that investigation, it was actually really fucking cool because that one. You got the main site, and then you had that like long hall off the back of it.
Yeah.
That was a really cool spot because we were having quite a bit of interaction there. You know, we'd say to it, "Can you light this up?" Cat balls would light up. Both of the cat balls light up separately as well.
I can't even remember what.
Yeah,
I remember in that hall bit. Yeah.
we had cat balls light up.
Yeah.
We had spirit talker went off quite a few times.
Yeah, because we was at one point we was in that hallway, long hallway, and nothing happened there.
No.
Even though that was spooky as shit. In there,
Oh yeah, so there, like the way we broke down the investigation, there's actually about like I want to say 3 or 4, maybe even 5 separate like buildings that you can go into. Technically, you've got the housing bit at the front, housing bit down here, the hall at the back, which was separate, the central like school area, and then there was one like off the back, which was probably more just like a staff like maintenance bit or whatever was going on there. And we went in that far side, the top right, where it was like a housing area / kitchen, which is where something that shouldn't have been cooking was growing. We didn't stay in there for too long because the second we smelt something we shouldn't have, we were right out of there. And then the next bit was that main housing part where there was like I guess that was like a dodgy, naughty kids boarding school. That's kind of what I'm thinking that was. And so this was the area where they would have been staying. This was where all their rooms were, and we had
was
long
that where
corridor.
that corridor was? Yeah.
That was the long corridor with all the rooms and that dodgy painting of a face that like lined up with the wall that shit me up on the way in. And we filmed down there a little bit because we wanted to see if we could get any interaction. We had some bats zipping down there, but beyond that, nothing. But then you leave that area, and there's like a little walkway in a courtyard, and across from that there's that open hall. That was where it was all kicking off. That was we had equipment going off in there. I don't think we had any like K2 or anything like that.
I don't recall, to be honest.
We did do some EVPs, but didn't get anything really come through on it. But the 2 things that kept going off was the cat balls. We had one on a chair because there was a big chair sat in the centre. We put one on there. That went off. And then on the other side of the hall, we put one on the floor by that board where they had all the stuff. And we were on the other side, and it was going off. Yeah. We also had the cameras, so we could try and take some flashlight pictures. And there was some misty bits.
Even with that cat ball, I was like cautious because of the floor, but I made sure I walked all around there where it was, and it never went off. It went off
when we weren't near it. There was a good bit of space between.
And I just wanted to make sure it weren't just because the floor was. Yeah,
there was a good there was a fair distance away. There was a good couple meters between you and where it was, and I was literally on the other side of the fucking hall at that point because I was by the chair. The chair was right in the centre, and this was the back wall, and that went off. And then, if it wasn't such a dodgy spot, I'd love to go back there. It's just, although there's nothing that says don't be there, it's illegal to be here because we don't really have that in the UK. Yeah, you shouldn't be somewhere. They'll just tell you to leave.
Trespass.
But there's no official trespassing law realistically where you get in trouble. It's just we're going to make sure you go away now.
Yeah, you'll just be told to leave and you leave, and that's the end of it pretty much.
But with that space, because of some of the things happening there, we're liable to get in a lot more trouble, especially because we've been there before, so we know about it now. If we did go back, they're going to try and get us in trouble in any way possible, and we will be made in trouble for that. So we can't really go back there, which is frustrating because that was a very reactive spot.
Yeah, and then the Lenwood Centre.
The Lenwood Centre. How many times have we been there? Two times or 3?
2 times. I think.
So we've been. Yeah, the 2 times we went there.
The Shuffle.
The first one, the Shuffle. Our first big piece of like paranormal evidence.
Well, yeah, I suppose that was the loudest. The other one I remember, the first one was like that moan at the Chapel Hill Wood.
Yeah, that was that was our 3rd ever investigation, if I'm remembering correctly, and that was about in September time. I think when it was before that, way before that.
Yeah,
that would have been.
We was doing one a week at that point, weren't we?
Yeah, so that still would have been in May. Bloody hell. Because we done our first investigation, then fucking hell, that's so long ago. That was interesting. But that was one of those ones where it was after the fact, where it's like, oh shit, look what we found. There was the shuffles that happened when you were stood on that hill. And you were like, wow. Yeah. So there was that. And we had the K2 going off, one of the only places really where we've had it go off to any length.
It's like, we need a new one, I think.
Yeah. that was the old one. That was the old K2. That wasn't even the one we got now. That got left at the archway thing. That was Bloody hell. That was another weird
Probably still sitting there.
Well, no, we can go back and pick it back up. No, that archway was another weird spot, but I'll talk about it in a minute. Yeah, that was scary because after the fact, hearing it, I was like, what the fuck? Because that spirit talker was saying some weird shit. It was like, we're hiding in the dark and all this crazy stuff. That was an active spot. But the Lenwood Centre was the first one where it was like, in the moment, I was like, fuck. Like, we're here now. We're here for this. That was a moment where I grew up watching dodgy shit, and you always hear people say like, oh, you know, if I was the person in a horror movie, I wouldn't do this. That was a moment where I was sat there going, I'm the idiot in the horror movie that did that, and I'm here, and it's happened. The first thing I went is like, oh, for fuck's sake, you've managed to avoid mostly scary paranormal shit your entire life. There's been some things, but nothing major, and now you fucking put yourself here, and here it is.
I remember that first time opening the door and looking in and thinking, oh shit,
Yeah.
it looked proper freaky, didn't it?
Oh yeah, that is a spot that has some feeling to it. That's scary. And at that point I didn't know someone had died in there. Because someone on the squash court, same where we were when we heard the shuffle, we didn't hear it technically in there, but we were in there when we heard it. It came from out of it.
In that corridor bit.
That was apparently where someone had someone had a heart attack on the squash court and died. And weirdly enough, now when I heard that, it kind of reminded me when I was a kid going there. There's some murmurs of someone talking about that. But yeah, that shuffle noise, I still can't. I have some theories on what I think it could be, but I don't know. My theory is, do you remember when we went to the karate rooms upstairs? We probably shouldn't have gone up there. Like, the floor was so fucked.
Yeah.
The fact that we didn't fall through it was a miracle. Especially when we went under to the squash, the big court next to it. You could see up into the room, and you were like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. But either way, where the steps were, like, there's like that lino shit on the steps, and it had peeled off from where the fire had been.
Right.
So I part of me wonders, when we've walked up the stairs, has that broken it and then it slipped down? Because if you think of like the noise of paper, it does kind of sound paper-like. If you had like wallpaper rolled on a table and then it kind of has that sound to it.
It had some like speed and force to it though. It weren't like it just went and then kind of fell off. It was
I'm thinking, if the lino's heavy and it's like slid down, it maybe not, but
because that was it on the stairs, or was it?
Well, we walked up the stairs, which is so you've got the squash court,
right?
Then you've got that corridor there, and then the stairs are here. So corridor, squash court, and it's on the other side of that. So because we did hear it from there, but you couldn't tell what direction.
I couldn't remember where the lino was.
It was so let's say you go out and there's that long hallway there. Yeah. It's up in that doorway with the stairs right here. Right. So it's fairly close to where it could have been.
It's on the floor though? It's
on the stairs on the floor, yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would have just fallen off. It seemed solid anyway when we was walking up it.
Oh yeah,
like there was stuff hanging off in there.
No, not at all. My thing is, if I was to logically apply what I think it could be, that's the closest I can get to it. I'm not saying I think that's necessarily what it is, but that's the closest logical thing I can get to. Because there's nothing else I can imagine it being that. Like, and we've not had. In fact, when we went back, nothing happened of that sort again. We did have like eerie noises, but it was just the water dropping down into the fucking thing.
We have to go back.
Yes.
And have another look.
I'm going to get a fucking hefty respirator when I go back though, because damn. Last time we went there, we come back and I was feeling ill. I had like breathing issues, trouble in my throat. Blimey, that was bad. But there's like a lot of black mould and dangerous shit.
Yeah,
so
you weren't a healthy environment, that's for sure.
No, you know, there's certain parts I just wouldn't probably go back to. I mean, we done the video with G-Star on Dartmoor not too long ago, and you know, he wanted to come down closer to where we are. So I put forward the idea of going to the Lenwood Centre with G-Star, and that might be a good video. So who knows? Maybe that'll be our next excursion out and over there. We can test it.
That'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be funny to show G. This is actually how you get into this place. Like, good luck. That's if we can anymore, because like it was tight anyway.
That's why I want to rather go early or late in the year, because when it's like height of summer and it's all overgrown, it's impossible then.
Well, last time we went was coming towards winter, so we'll have to see what goes on with that one. There may not be another way.
It's funny to think though, a year down the road, and all the different places we've been to. Like, we ain't been to any mad, you know, like real haunted locations like us, but probably one of our well-known places, like Bodmin Jail. That was quite cool, wasn't it?
Oh, that was such a cool experience. I want to do that again. We probably could do that again. That was such a cool.
It's just a shame the amount of people that were there. If we could have had the place to ourselves.
Just say, go away, this is ours for tonight. No. I mean, I think if we were to go back, we'd be able to do a better investigation because we now know what we're in for. We were kind of walking into that not knowing, was it going to be just a guided tour for the whole night? And then we were like, shit, how do we film this? But then as it opens up, you kind of get left to do what you want and you're fine. So we could probably do that. And it might just mean we have to be a bit more ballsy about it and be like, right, everyone, we're going to do this. If you want to be a part of it, there you go. If not, off you fuck.
And see you later.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, towards the end of the investigation, people did get involved and they were kind of talking and stuff. Cool. But that was a cool one. The White Hart Inn in Exeter, that was another one that's supposed to be very haunted. I loved the experience and I loved like learning about it and going there. But fuck, what happened?
I know, it's a bit disappointing. You travel all that way and then nothing happens.
The two things that stick out to me is that noise we heard right at the very end, and the fact that the one guy behind the counter, like one who checked us in, who told us about that hallway where supposedly there was the boy that runs up and down the corridor, his name was Ryan, and when we were down that corridor at night, like hours later, we had that name come through on the Spirit Talker. Now, it's never said that name before or after, and I would know, it's my fucking name. So, it's never said it before or after, so I do find it a bit like...
And that's definitely, hopefully, another place to visit again, because...
Absolutely.
Like, obviously, we couldn't get access to that room where people had seen...
The monks... There was a priest hide, sorry, not monks hide.
Priest
monks
hole.
Hide sounds like some sort of fucking fungus or something, doesn't it? Yeah, the priest hide. That would be cool if we can get back in. I think
they said they bricked it off now, but still, I'm sure there was reports of people seeing stuff in that room.
So well, yeah, even if we can get in there.
And obviously, this time we'd have to email them and say, you know, can we get access to this this time?
We've been doing it a bit longer now, so we can also be like, look, guys, we do this. They were all, the people at the White Hart and Bodmin Jail were really cool about it, especially the White Hart, because I wasn't expecting them to be so wanting to put up with our fucking antics to film around. But no, the guy gave us a tour, told us where were like the haunted parts and what the history of the hauntings were. Like, our room was literally right next to a room where supposedly a couple had a woman appear.
Some weird black and white
figure, a woman who just appeared in the room and went apart. I don't know whether he said a person went in there and she was sat on the bed or laying on the bed and they thought someone was there, so they went down to get someone. When they come back, there was no one there.
Yeah, that was just the weird part to me, where they said it was just like black and white figure, like like in an old photo kind of thing.
Right, literally right next to us, and it was like our room was at the top of the stairs, and then like down was this person's room. I tell you, I slept nothing in that room. I did not sleep. I got maybe 2.5 hours sleep that night. And I was just sat there like, what if I open my eyes and some like that woman's just stood there looking at me?
I slept alright actually. I was surprised. Well, one, I was worried because it was hot. Yeah. And then two, I'm just like, I'm so used to my own space. That am I gonna just be able to crash out here or not?
Yeah. I did an emergency survival situation. I pulled my hood over and then put my phone there like that and my hood over the top of it. Like headphones in. So I was encroached in, and if anything grabbed me, it would have been a kick and ignore situation. So that was a funny one. But no, White Hart, I'd go back there. That was a cool one. Yeah. And we might have a new place to investigate overnight. Is it a pub?
Yeah, it's like I think a pub, not a hotel as such, but they do have rooms like you can stay overnight. So an inn, But yeah, so that would be quite a cool one to do, hopefully.
I think so.
Whether we'll have time to do it now or whether we'll have to wait till the end of the year, I don't know.
Well, we'll see what comes of that. But I think this going into like our second year of doing this, I do want to focus on getting more. Like we go to the locations and spend the night there, so like inns, hotels, and stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. And I mean, now there's kind of a benefit, obviously. Now I'm working as well. More money means we can actually pay for multiple places, which is in the first year that wasn't really an option for us. The only problem is the time. Now we've got less time. But then because we've got so many series going on with like the case files, we put that to rest a little bit, but now we've got the green screen, and we put out our coronavisor case file, which I thought was fucking awesome. I'm really happy with how it turned out. We could do more case files. We've got these podcasts, reacts, like there's so many more things for us to be able to do now that we can afford not to do an investigation as frequently, but bigger scale investigations. I think I'm happy with that, leaving it at that.
And it's just like you said, it's better if, like, unless there's certain ones that you can't stay at, but it's probably good if we can.
Yeah.
And because when we started out, it was easy doing them once a week because there was loads of places.
Yeah,
and now we've done, now we've done the local ones and that, and we can't think of any. So.
There's probably 2 more that we can do that we've technically been to, but not filmed at or been able to use the footage. We can do. There was a burial mound that we went to very early on, but the video got scrapped because the audio was just completely messed up, which is frustrating.
We didn't have the mics or anything then.
No, we didn't. So. No, we only had the 2 mics on the camera and the shotgun and that. But the cool thing about that, boys, when we were using the Spirit Talker, there was a clip, a moment where it said, "Do you play music?" And it said that when I had it, which I thought was cool. That was the first instance.
Because that's when you walked off over to the side, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then on the way to that spot, there's also another, like...
Didn't we make a short out of that?
Probably.
I'm sure
it may have done. It
may
have gone as an early short, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that spot is somewhere we could go back to.
Yeah.
We've got the... is that a drill I just heard there? Typical.
It's like someone's phone on the table.
So there's that, and then on the lead up to that, there's on the path through the forest. There's like a big old tree with some benches and like I don't know what you'd call that.
I don't know.
Word
like
awning
gazebo type thing, not a gazebo, but
it's like a wooden shelter basically, and that's a lot older than I thought it was, and that's
because I know it used to be something else there, and they've replaced it with that.
Right, okay. But there's supposedly a lot of activity that happens there.
Weren't there some happened there, like
someone hung themselves or something that I heard? I don't know, but it's a cool spot anyway, because when you go to it, there's like loads of carvings and stuff, like the stereotypical like love heart with the initials and all that shit. And it's got a long history.
It can be quite freaky there because it's like a fair trek from the car to get there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to the actual mound is what, like half hour?
I think it's like 45 minutes.
And then even that spot is maybe 20 minutes, 10, 15 minutes away from the actual mound itself, if not more.
Yeah,
so
it was at least...
You're out the way, and it's a long walk through very pitch black
I think
forest.
it was about 25, 30 minutes to walk to that little hut there, and then like another 10 or so minutes to the mound. So
after that, a death hill as well. Jesus.
Yeah.
It's almost done.
And it was a nice walk there because it was light, and we could see out over the ocean and stuff. But on the way back it's more freaky because
you need some atomic torches for that. So I think those are 2 spaces or 2 places we can go to because we've not been able to make videos there yet.
I'd be interested to know what everyone watching, whether if you guys have got any favourite things that we do, whether it's like investigations, reactions, case files, the podcast, or whether you just like a mix of everything and different topics and that, because
we can make more of the things that you like.
We'd like to cater to more people.
So. I mean, investigations, they are the most like cool experiences, but my kind of vision for them moving forward would be more like every other month or so, which is still like quite frequent to be able to do this, but we could say do a bigger investigation like the White Hart, where it's going to be like a 2-parter where it's spread over a couple of videos, so at least you've got a couple of videos, and we can do a back-to-back or something where we can actually go out to bigger locations. If we find smaller ones in the meantime, then perfect. But the thing is those investigations will be bigger. They can be bigger productions. I can edit them better, because the last White Hart Inn was quite a bigger production compared to some of the ones we've done, because I did the preview with all the dramatic effects and the build-up. I'd love to focus more on doing investigations like that.
It's just a shame, because I love the investigations. I love doing them. If I had my way, I'd do them every week, but realistically we just can't find...
Time-wise and editing-wise, it's just not...
And we can't find them. It's like, unless, like some of the bigger places, they just want you to pay ridiculous money to
or they don't take you seriously, which is another frustrating one.
But if we had our pick to do anything we wanted when we wanted, I'd be like doing them every week.
if we had, if like I've been trying to convince my brother to help edit with us, because that would up the production, and that way we could do an investigation every other week, and it could be at that level of the White Hart video where it was that like, this is the history of this place, and this is what happens, and because even if we did go back to a spot, we could be like, last time this is what happened, and research the history of doing it like that. But right now it's just so difficult to keep up that pace. We'll still figure it out, but
yeah,
it's
like
just
even
about
if we're getting an investigation a month, like not necessarily big ones, but like just even little ones as well.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And then every other month, as well as doing getting a regular investigation in every month, we could also every other month try and aim for a bigger one where we can get a couple of investigations out of it, and go for those big grander ones, because they are a good bit of fun. Yeah. I really enjoy these podcasts as well, because they're easy to make, but they're also fun, because there's no like, I like to break down our content in different ways. The investigations are about the learning and well, not necessarily the learning, they're about the experiencing. We talk a lot of shit. I like to think this is what lets us go out there and justify the fact that we talk a lot of shit, because we don't just say, oh, well, if it was me, this is it being me. So we go out there and we do it, and we experience what we can, and we try and prove ourselves wrong or right, depending on where we are, and we learn about a spot. And then the case files are kind of more just a bite size, if you will,
it's kind of like
learning.
A story type thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like a bit like imagine your fucking murder mystery makeup thing that all these channels are doing, but it's elements of the paranormal or the unknown condensed into what I think is quite fun and informative. Now we've got the green screen, the productions are going up a little bit in value and getting better like that.
Do you mean the
Emporium.
The Emporium.
The Emporium. And now we have our Emporium of wondrous and unexplained things. The production can afford to get a lot better. And then, so that's our case files. And then we got our reacts, which are just something to laugh at.
And they're fun. Yeah, they're fun. I enjoy them. But they're interesting and all, because like even like with whatever topic we're doing, we might learn something as well.
Oh yeah.
You know? So it's
mean, sometimes I think after having researched things to react to, that's what recommended me the information about the coronavirus, and that was when I went off and learned about that and was able to make that video. So being in that world and exploring it is kind of, it works. Like, reaction's always fun. It gives people a chance to watch something with us, and you know, they can go and share their perspective on it, and we chat shit about it, or what we agree with, what we don't, and our perspective and stuff. So we cover a lot of different like areas, and not just. We started as strictly ghosts, paranormal. Then it was like paranormal cryptids and all that. Now it's kind of just the unknown, the unexplained,
there's a bit of
which is
everything in there.
In a way, I like that.
Which is good, because like more people get to kind of experience it as well. So.
Yeah, in a weird way, this is the direction this has gone in, and this is kind of the original direction I thought of it. But obviously, these things evolve as you do it. It kind of, what this has turned into is a show that I used to watch when I was a kid was called Mystery Hunters, and you had these two presenters, probably only about 14, 15, and they would go out and explore things like the Loch Ness Monster, or like this thing and this thing. I think they did like aliens in the fucking Aztecs and some bullshit like that, and different UFO sightings, and then they had their scientist buddy who would help like prove this and prove that. In a weird way, we've kind of turned into that a little bit, because we're going out, and the case files are where we're going out and researching, and then having the kind of like education side of it. Even though it's education, but it's fun, it's entertaining at the same time. You're learning about these new things. And then we've got the ghost hunts, which is like when they would put them in the scenarios to go and experience it. And we're not limited by like, oh, we only work with aliens, or we only work with ghosts, and we only work with cryptids.
If we only done paranormal investigations, we wouldn't be doing any videos now, probably, because we wouldn't have anywhere to go.
Well, I mean, I could have found a way to spread it out, like we could have done podcasts.
We would have been having to do a video a month or something if we was just doing investigations.
I think, well, that's the thing. Like, the biggest thing about this, though it started at ghosts, and that was like the thing, the springboard. This is ultimately like, we're passionate about a lot of things that fall under conspiracy and just generally that world of the unknown.
Unexplained.
Yeah, the unexplained, exactly. Yeah. And the Unexplained Files, we're literally just documenting this. I would love in the future, like the way I frame this is almost like, imagine you're just a person who moves into a house and you find a filing cabinet full of VHS tapes, and every time you put that video in, it's a new episode of the Unexplained Files. And ironically enough, in time, you know, however long YouTube lasts for, when I'm an old man and whatever the fuck's happened,
I'll be dead then.
When very far horizons in the future, someone comes across an ancient YouTube channel, the Unexplained Files, with however many subs and whatever went on, and it'll actually have become that in a weird way, because they will be able to go and watch a new episode and it will be like that. So I love the way we're just kind of categorizing and documenting and finding and sharing the unknown.
Funny, isn't it?
Yeah, because it just makes people ask questions. We're in a world where some of the most entertaining content I've ever seen is, have you seen this crazy thing?
And it's funny, like you think maybe 20 years down the road, people might be watching our videos and we know about aliens by then.
Yeah.
You know, we could have had
idiots thinking this and that.
Yeah, we could have had contact with aliens by then, for all we know.
Who knows? To me, when you see there's like loads of different niches of, look at this interesting thing. It's in like the serial killer world and true crime that exists. You got people doing their makeup and doing all that, and then like history things. There's that infographic show where they've got like that, where they talk about moments from history and they animate it and all that. I love stuff like that. And the premise of those shows is, look at this cool thing in this area. And now we are the people who are starting that for the paranormal, I like to think anyway. And we are undoubtedly the best in the UK. So there's that. I'm going to say it until it's reality. But it's been such a cool year to start off like that. And I know back in that January time, we did say like, oh, you know, it's been a great year and stuff. This is our like year mark. And when we get that next investigation over, what's the name of the church? St. Mary's?
St. Mary's, I think.
Yeah, it's St. Mary's Church, our first location. That will be the official, that'll be the 1 year video, basically. I don't know if we'll be posting it exactly on the day, because I don't know if the year falls on Friday.
Because I think it was the 5th, wasn't it, or something
5th,
like that.
Yeah.
And I think the Friday is on the 3rd, yeah.
So it'll fall on the 3rd, but either way, it will be our year, and I'm kind of nervous for it, but excited at the same time, because we know how to investigate now. Or I wouldn't say how to investigate, there's a million and one ways to do it, but we know how we investigate. And back then we were thinking...
And it'd be interesting to see the difference from a year, because obviously we've got new equipment, you know, so... And we probably... I remember when we first went and I was like, how are we going to start? I didn't even know how to address the camera and stuff, you know.
How do we start? What do we film? What's worth filming? Should we capture this? Everything was so overwhelming. Yeah. And at the very beginning of videos, we were starting and stopping clips all the time. So there was like 50 different clips throughout a thing. Now it's just, you smash the camera on at the beginning of the night and whatever the fuck unfolds, that's your lot. And so it's going to be cool to see what comes of it. And another thing as well, like, I was nervous the first time we did an investigation, because it was the first time I'd ever gone out and done anything like that. I've been around a graveyard at night time, even if it is in the middle of a town. But now we've been to such dodgy spots. I'm going to get there and it'll be like going to the beach on summer holidays. I won't give a shit. So,
and it's also weird because, like, I have my other YouTube channel and I used to doing that on my own. I was even nervous about talking like to the camera in front of you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this is going to be embarrassing. And now we just don't even think about it.
I used to be like it, but I noticed this thing about people. When you sit and watch someone who knows what they're doing, they don't actually know what they're doing. They just give off the impression that they know what they're doing. And they're doing it and you'll sit there going, man, I wish I could do that. And then, like, I wish I was so confident. They're probably just as nervous, but they're just doing it and letting off the illusion that they're fine. So I kind of ran it off of, if I just act as though I know what I'm doing, I will give that impression off and fake it till I make it. And then it worked. Like, now I'm comfortable in front of the camera, it's fine. And we can have a laugh and do whatever, and I'm not too bothered about it. But it did take a while to get into this swing. How do we do this? How does it happen? And what goes from there?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
A year, fucking hell, where did that go? And what are we going to get up doing the next year? Because next year is going to be bigger locations and bigger videos and conspiracies and
I tell you what,
emporiums.
At the moment, like, my mind's been a bit overwhelmed just in general. Yeah. So I've like been a bit off track, but so I'm struggling to like kind of get back on track to like, right, what are we doing? Let's get focused on it again.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to kind of.
So I'm going to schedule us out loads of stuff. So you just think, right, what are we doing today, Ryan? Right, we're doing this. Right, good. If we do, see, I like to schedule out things like that because it just makes something like this so much easier. Because if you've got to think of a new idea every week, it's a bit intense.
Like,
if you can plan ahead, you can sort of just, in weird ways, sit and enjoy just what you've already worked for yourself.
And then obviously, like we've said before, maybe something will come up like a big alien UFO sighting, and then we can suddenly jump in and like cover that. You know,
for me, that coronavirus video was really exciting. That was really refreshing. I loved putting that together. It tried new things, and that really reinvigorated me into doing this again. Not that I didn't enjoy it before, but there was a certain like monotony of repeating the same pattern over and over again. So now we have the Emporium. We can, we could add a whole bunch of new opportunities into the channel. And it's weird actually because I've been feeling fucking crazy overwhelmed. I think everyone in the house has been crazy overwhelmed, but I can't nail down why. Like, yes, I've got this thing on the go and this thing on the go and this thing on the go, but that's never usually an issue to me. But right now, it just is. Maybe it's the effects of a strange
of the Emporium.
The Emporium.
Yeah, it was the solar eclipse.
Solar instance of activity, and that's
the solar eclipse has done it.
I'm cracking open a Dr. Pepper. I need some duct tape so I can just a can of ambiguous. What we should do is get some green tape to stick around this and put our Unexplained Files logo. So we've got a can of the Unexplained.
You can get green duct tape.
Go. Open it and you just see green like mist come up.
Fucking ghosts come out.
That'd be cool as fuck.
Oh dear.
No, I'm looking forward to what we end up doing in the future. I've got some cool ideas I'm not going to spoil here.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, like you were saying, now we've moved along. It was literally when we started, it was just paranormal investigations. That's what we've done every week for quite a few months, wasn't it? Every Friday. And back then, it was a lot easier because you was free on the weekends and I didn't work weekends, so we could easily go out Friday night. That's what we usually did, wasn't it? And then that video would go out the next week.
Yeah, exactly.
But and then we've kind of progressed on to
I think it was a combination of things. Like, one, there's a limit on the locations we could have got to without like financial backing. Ultimately, I know like people, it's kind of taboo to talk about like the money and the earning potential from all this. But realistically, if we're going to be traveling a lot, we need to be able to fund at least the travel. Like, I'm not too bothered about making a profit when it comes to right now, but at least something to get us from A to B. That's all I really care about in that scenario. Two, like doing the same thing week in, week out. After a while, I feel like it would have got too much. It either would have been too much, or a new experience all the time would have been too much. It just would have come a point where we would have reached an end point. It would have been like, right, fuck this, I need to slow down. And I didn't want that to happen. And on top of that, YouTube it's as much as following your passions doesn't necessarily get you anywhere on YouTube. It's not the most engaging for people watching. And yes, we need to be able to do this for self-fulfillment. That if a lot of people watch these videos, and we have some regular commenters that enjoy what we do. And I want to make something that has the same passion that we have for these things, because that transfers to people. Even if we're having a shit day, if we make a video and we laugh about it and we enjoy it, that's good for us because we get a boost out of it. But people watching do as well. That we have people comment about like the way we frame things and the way we laugh at things and joke about things, it makes them feel better and they have a good time or they learn something. That is why I wanted to diversify out what we do, because I've got interests in the unknown that go way beyond ghost hunting and stuff like that. Ghost hunting is like a really nice, I would say, accessible way into like that realm of the paranormal, but it does
like obviously I've been into the paranormal for forever, as long as I remember, but I've also been into all kinds of stuff like UFOs and all other conspiracy theories and like cryptids, and so there's a whole load of stuff that
I think my brain is just conditioned to want to know everything about everything. So my obsessions for life have always been things like history. I learn about a new empire in a new country, I'm just going to fucking dive in on that shit. And it comes to a point where you've learned enough of that
where you know a surface level of everything, so you hear that and the same spark doesn't go off anymore. So when someone comes along and goes, did you know actually there might have been aliens that built the pyramids, you go, that's not what I knew about. Tell me more. And so you just dive into that world. And so this is why when someone comes along and they've got this flat earth theory, or one of the ones that gripped me for a very long time was hollow earth and the idea of the cities underground. What's that word? It's called like Agartha or something like that, a supposed city that's in the centre of the earth. And at that point I was like, I need to know more. I remember being in school and having a friend who I'd sit and talk to about this stuff, and we were talking about, there was it was like an expedition that a guy had got together with a sailor, and they were gonna try and sail to the entrance to the hollow earth and try to get in. And apparently, after the funding was done, the entire trip was like got together. They had the people that were ready to go for it. Out of nowhere, like the listing of the ship disappeared, the captain disappeared, no one knows where he went to. The guy who organised it gone, and all the people who were supposedly supposed to be going on that trip were never told what happened. Their money was just given back. The trip was cancelled. They had no contact with people anymore, and it was just gone. And at that point, I was like,
This is a conspiracy theory.
And a lot of conspiracies, I want them to be real. Like Hollow Earth and there being dinosaurs inside the planet and all that. I want that to be real so bad. But it just fuels me to learn more.
But yeah, there's loads of weird shit like that. I remember seeing some videos ages ago, like back when remember when we'd done the Black Eyed Children, there was that guy Fantastic Daily.
Yeah.
He was doing one, and not that he filmed, he was showing someone else filmed, and it was almost like Predator, like someone was in the forest filming, and you could just see like this mirage thing moving like through the trees, and like, can you imagine how freaky that'd be? But yeah, just all kinds of stuff like that. I just don't freak me out. I just get so fascinated because I want to know what it is or what's going on.
I remember originally when that instance happened, I talked about it on the channel a few times, where me and my friends ran away from that campfire spot. I told you about that. One of the first things we were talking about was a conspiracy, where we were talking about like military technology, soldiers supposedly having this technology where they could cloak themselves. So the conversations we have like on the podcast, we've done that for years. Like, oh yeah, have you heard of this thing? And what about this? And
when you mentioned that, have you seen that one with where they're filming like the tanks, and then you just see this like kind of invisible person run along, but like you can kind of see the outline. They like run along and climb up on this tank, and then they're just laying down in it.
I have no idea.
Man, that is fucking bizarre.
I wouldn't half surprise me if there was technology like that available, but like that sort of exchange right there is literally been things we've talked about for years. So it was a little enough time needed to pass to get to a point where we can be like, right, these conversations where we go, have you heard of this? Have you seen this? We've basically just done that with a camera, and that's what the channel's turned into, and I love it. Like seeing things, because we'll always come across and be like, oh, do you see this? You heard of this weird thing? There's some things we won't discuss on the internet, certain controversial worldwide topics that need not be mentioned.
Right.
But the unexplained as it pertains to aliens and history and ghosts and the paranormal and cryptids and anything of that nature, fire a fucking way. I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's all interesting. It's good because it's like, if we was trying to force something that we weren't that interested in just for views, we'd just be sitting there like, it would be shit, wouldn't it, really?
Yeah, people would know that we don't care about what we're doing.
The videos that I don't like the most are our case file ones, because
you have to sit and read and
I don't know, like if you guys have ever watched me on one of them videos, you see I'm like quite serious looking, and I'm like not as animated, or not that animated anyway, but that's because Ryan just remembers stuff, and he'll just like start talking to the camera, and I'll be like, what? How do you do that? And so I have to have a little teleprompter thing up there, so I'm trying to read it as I'm like looking at the camera. So anytime one of them was coming up, I get proper stressed out.
I try and creatively work in ways to still have you involved in it, putting on less strain. I was kind of considering, like, when that video, before we made that video, I was like, it'd be really cool to have like the hologram happen. And funnily enough, I was at work and just didn't want to be at work. And so I was just thinking of a million things because I've always got a million projects going on at the same time. And this idea of a Star Wars holocommunicator came into my head, and I was thinking like the coronavirus video. That almost like that. The way that was supposed to have worked is that it collects the waves from the air and like the supposed energy that's left over, and reforms it into like a 3D hologram of the happenings. That made me think of the Star Wars holocommunicator, and I thought, man, can I pull off a shot like that? And I was like, I've never done anything like that before. And I immediately went to, how can I do that? How can I achieve that effect? And then I thought, the thing is I could sit there and talk and that would be fine. But you struggle with that a little bit more. So maybe to keep you in the video, what if I made it so that you were the hologram and tried to do it that way, just trying to find a creative way to keep you involved in it? Because I don't want to just do the case files where it's just me doing it. I want us to both be involved, because we've always been involved in every project we've done. The only exception is when you did the first case file, the UFO, when you talked about like you experiencing and when we were in that town, and then when I was in Scotland doing the ghost hunt up there.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it can be helped. Actually, no, tell a lie. The one video, I think, another video that we did where it was just me, was a case file again with the steps. The ghostly heels in Exeter, actually. So those are the only couple of instances. So I want to keep those down to a minimum, really. I like for us to both be involved. We just have to think of new ways to be creative and how we include each other into it. And it's just...
I suppose maybe if it's more something I know about, I'll be a bit more confident in
and
talking
maybe
about
we
it.
just change the way we research it a little bit. So rather than just like writing up a script about it, we can actually sit and spend a few days like looking it up and learning about it. And then you could just say like, talk about it in a more casual sense, and then I'll write. I like to work off a script, because not necessarily a script. I'm more bullet point more so than anything. But I've just come up with a script for the sake of, if you've got something, then I think, I know you're going to hit every point, just so that I'm not repeating the same stuff more than anything.
Yeah.
But if we make it so that either you can write down some bullet points that you want to cover and then say it in a more like casual manner, it might be easier to manage. And then what we could do is rather than write, because it's usually like we write the script independently, like I'll do it or you'll do it, and then we're like, right, here's the thing, by the way. But what we could do is sit down and be like, right, well, these are different things I know about it, let's bullet point them down, and then who says what, and we'll do it that way. Might make it a little bit more easier to make. But we did put that series away for a while because it was easy. It was a combination of one, it was so easy to do React, and investigations were fun, and we had the podcast now that the seeing the coronavirus, I was like, there's no fucking way I'm not doing that. That needs a video. It's such a cool topic. I had to bring it back, and I think that was, you can see the passion in that video. Like you can watch it and you can tell even if it was, you might have been uncomfortable on the camera, we both enjoyed making that. It was such a cool topic, and like, it turned out such a cool video. Cool. So more things like that.
I'd like to do more like that, but longer as well. Like obviously, like editing wise, that in depth might be hard, but
I mean, to me, the perfect length of a video would be between 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Any longer than that, you're starting to push it into an hour. Maybe 20 minutes at a push, but the only videos I would have longer than that is investigations, because you actually want a substantial video out of an investigation because of the time we've spent doing it. And investigations have that anyway. And podcasts. Anything lower than that, I don't like reaching 15 minutes.
I suppose it's just from ones that I've watched in the past, like when I showed you that Y-Files. And a lot of his videos are usually between like half hour and 40 minutes kind of thing. Like, and I don't expect ours to be like that, but like you said, around 15, 20 minutes I think is
really good length. It's just good because if people see that, and one of the examples I use is like the one of the reasons I try and keep it like that is because obviously Mum's a very busy person. She watches as many videos of ours as she can. If she comes to me and she says, I haven't watched this one yet because I got home from work and I was a bit tired and I saw it was this long and I just thought I'll watch it when I've got the time, I take a mental note of that because I'm going, right, okay, there are going to be a lot of people who don't have the time. How do we make it so that they feel like they can watch it, or they don't feel like it's they don't question whether they can invest their time into it? And the shorter the video, the better. But you do have to bridge that gap of like, it's worth the time to watch it, but it's not too much time to watch.
I suppose that's my problem I have, because I'm so like, if we're putting out a video on a Friday, I want people to be getting their worth out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if we're putting up like a 5-6 minute video, I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
like, people are going to be like, is that it? But no, and they probably like it, but it's just my.
I know what you mean, because I get a bit of that same feeling. I do think to myself, like, is this enough? Is there enough information here? Is it entertaining enough? And you have to really try and be careful about that. And I think moving forward, I now that I've made a video like that, I've edited a video like that, I know how I can go about it. I can give myself that a little bit of extra time. And, you know, one way we can get around that is if I go down and schedule so many videos in advance, we can then say, like, well, we're going to record this reacts, like 3 in a day, and then we've got them ready and sorted. That gives me the time then to say, if the case file's not the next video but the following, I can start getting information together all the way back there and planning out what I can do with it. Because, excuse me, one of my things is that I'm terrible for trying to keep a mental idea for long periods of time, because the second I'm not thinking about it anymore, the whole concept's gone. So the more I can write down and the more I can bullet point, the better, really.
Yeah, and it would be cool to do more like when we done the werewolf one, like where we done the, because I suppose it was an investigation, but it weren't in a way, you know. While we were going to ghost hunting, it's more like a kind of not a story, but we were going to an area to investigate a sighting. You know, I like stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
It's like you're guaranteed with that you're not going to see anything, but it's still interesting to go there where someone had seen such
I think
a thing.
the problem with that video was when we first did it, it was like we had an idea roughly of what we wanted it to be, but it was such a loose idea. When we got there, it turned into a day out, basically.
It was like the scenery and that, it was just like, whoa.
It was such a good day. It was literally just like we cut back to 2018 where we just go out for a walk on the beach and that was it. And then it was kind of just like, right, let's make something out of this. And I think it needs a good balance of on the site looking for things, and then also a bit of the history, a bit of what sort of things you might encounter. And in future we could do something like that. And the good thing about case files is if we had any more dogman situations, I could do something a bit more interesting now.
It's a shame that recent Bigfoot report is so far away. It's like 4 hours away.
Right.
Because if it was around here, mate, we'd be on that.
Yeah, that'd be so fucking cool. I have had some suggestions about locations quite close to us, like haunted woods and stuff like that. So I'm going to talk to the people who recommended that and kind of get a bit more information about it, and we could probably go up there.
It's just exciting though, isn't it? It's like you get that adrenaline rush going out there, and you like, I wonder what's going to happen. Even if nothing does happen, it's still cool just going and looking.
Well, because one thing I really like the idea of is there's a local woods near us that we could probably go to. Not the one you're thinking of, the one that way is over the back by the fire station. Ooh, bless you. Ooh. We could go over behind the fire station where it's like.
Oh, I know where that is. Yeah, because you can't you walk to where we live from there, like from like up where Asda's is. You can kind of come down through there, can't you?
Yeah. So that whole area, there's a lot of stuff, and there's like the old witch's house is probably on that route as well. We can go film some stuff over there.
And I like the idea of doing an investigation there for one, and then also we could do a case file about it. And with our emporium, we could do some shots where we're stood in a haunted forest and like be a bit more creative and have that fun. And that's what excites me. So
we could have a haunted forest right here, right now.
Yeah, it's almost as if
bang.
Yeah, by the magic of our emporium, it can show you exactly what you need to see.
It's like the room of requirements.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Just a fucking just do a flash effect and forest, bang.
And then we just bring it back to the emporium. It'll fade in front of your very eyes. Yeah. I love the idea of doing an investigation in a spot, or maybe vice versa, where you do case file about it first, so you know the history of it, and then like people like that, they're like, oh, that's so cool, and then by the way, we're fucking investigating there, bang, and that'd be so fucking cool. I mean, we have got not an investigation, but an exciting location we're going to do a history on. Do we want to talk about what it is, the place in September we're going to, or do we want to wait until closer to the time?
Don't mind, it's up to you.
A very well-known paranormal place that we'll probably be doing. Well, we'll be doing a case file on, and maybe, but rather than just a case file where it's like a quick one, I'm happy to extend that video out because we're going to be doing it and filming it in a certain way. The Tower of London.
The Tower of Babel.
Obviously, a very old, very historic spot in England, and a lot of haunted history going on there. There's a lot of spirits that have supposedly been there, a lot of tragedies, and a lot of things that have gone on there. There's the beheading of one of King Henry's wives. There's the last a German spy who was executed there. The last person to be executed, he was in the 1940s. He was shot on the grounds. So a lot of history to the place, a lot of things that have gone on. It's seen a lot of things, and there's some stories. I won't go too in depth to it because I want to make the case for all about it. There's the story of a soldier who apparently was frightened. So, like, there was a person who was one of the head, like, beefeaters was looking out a window, and he noticed a soldier looked absolutely terrified, stood there, and just fucking sprinted away. And I don't know if he was supposedly fainted or something, but when he called him up about it, he said that there was a woman who he was talking to, a really pale woman, who then apparently took a head into her hands, and like he just sprinted away and panicked, and that was supposedly the ghost of
Sounds like some of the ones you've seen
Great
lately
lady.
on where they've got the CCTV footage and the security guards just chatting away, and then they're like, call them on the radio. Who are you talking to? Can you imagine that?
That'd be terrifying.
That'd be so weird, wouldn't it? If you like literally think you're talking to a real person standing
The
in front
mad
of
thing
you.
is that I already know what reaction I'd have. The minute I heard them be like, who are you talking to? I would feel just a cold chill shoot throughout my whole body. You could just viscerally tell how you'd feel about it. That'd be so terrifying. Makes me wonder, how many people have you spoken to or seen or interacted with that just aren't actually alive or there?
Yeah, that really kind of boggles my mind. That one, that's a really interesting one, because it's like, how can they be so real and, you know, like interacting with you like that, but no one else can see them?
Yeah. Or maybe they can, and just certain instances they can't. Maybe if you were another person there, it would look like a person, but on camera it just doesn't transfer. I don't know if I've ever had an experience like that, but I have had one really weird experience, right? It was in Morrison's. It was just, it was me and Josh. We were probably about 10 at the time, 11. And we were sat on these metal like chairs that were by the canteen, or the cafeteria. I call it a canteen now because I've been there for so fucking long. And Mum was like putting the shopping through the checkout and whatnot, and this old woman come and sat next to us. She was like really this stereotypical like crone type woman, and she was sitting there talking to us, and like she was saying like, and you know, the world's coming to an end, you know. And she was like, and you know, they lie about the Earth looking like this, and the aliens are coming, and all this stuff. And then
flat.
Yeah, she said it's flat, and the aliens and stuff, and it's the end of the world, and the spirits are coming, and the veil is thinning, and she was going on about all this mad stuff. And I was just like a child, not socially equipped to deal with this, just going, yeah, thinking, where's Mum? And then she stops, she goes, you don't believe me, do you? And I was like, what? She's like, do you believe everything I'm saying? And I was just like, to be honest with you, I don't know. And she just started cackling, and I just got up, and we saw Mum, and we walked off, and didn't look back, didn't know what's going on. But if there was ever a moment where I hope it was like a crazy spirit witch thing talking to me, that right there.
Yeah, that
she
sounds
was
a bit mental.
off a rocker.
Yeah.
Her intergalactic rocker. She was off of that. Blimey, that was a weird scenario. Looking back on it, thinking of how she looked, it could have very well been my boss. The way she looks wouldn't have surprised me. But anyway, yeah, that was that.
I wonder if there's any, maybe these guys can offer any suggestions if there's anything else that we could bring to the channel.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're already open to most stuff like the cryptids, the paranormal, UFOs, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'm just thinking if there's anything else or any other.
Well, I know we've
different way
got
of
a couple
doing
of viewers
content.
from different parts of the flat globe. And then we've got a couple of viewers from across the globe who you might have, maybe if your town has a local history or local spirits or cryptids that are well known to exist in your area. Please tell us about that. Let us know, or we can research it and share it, because I love how in the States there's just certain regions where creatures just exist, and unless you lived in that town or near it, you never know anything about it. What was that one video that I saw that was crazy? I think you might have shown me. There was a woman who was I don't know if she was at home and she was filming out across the street, and there was that person who was just walking backwards and forwards, screaming.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And I don't know if she got closer, and it just went and wasn't there anymore.
I remember something to that effect. I can't remember it though.
I don't know if you showed it to me or whether I saw it on a conspiracy video somewhere.
Yeah.
But there was like a spirit of a person just walking backwards and forwards across the woods, wasn't it? There was like a big grass. There was like this woman's driveway in the road, and then some deep like houses that were kind of under construction.
Yeah,
and then a verge.
Pretty sure I saw that as well. Yeah.
In the woods, and there was just like a black figure. Well, no, it didn't even look like it was a ghost. It looked like a person, sort of vaguely. A bit
I
like
can't
of a
really
dark
recall
shape.
it too. I was just when you said about screaming and that.
It was like a person who was walking around in the woods, like sort of like backwards, forwards, in and out of the woods, and they were like screaming. And I don't know if she got closer to them, and they just gone. That was it, or what? But that is one to look into because that was creepy as all hell. That's one of those ones that actually spooks me out.
I remember another one I watched where there's a woman walking through the forest, and then she's like going through this little hedge bit, or not hedge, like this thick brush, and then she like just hears this voice, "Oh, excuse me," or something, and she just like turns around and there's no one there, and she's just like, oh, freaks out. Like, imagine that was you. What you do? And I've been hearing the ones about people hearing like growls and that in like.
I mean, I had that experience at home like a few nights ago. I don't know what to think of that. It was just after the coronavirus. Yeah, that is the right thing I'm trying to say. The coronavirus video went up, and I was walking. I come out of the bathroom because I literally just I'd sent myself the video so I could watch it on my phone. Like after it had been edited, before it had been posted, and I come out of the bathroom and go to turn the corner to go downstairs, and it sounded like I heard a noise just sort of go, as I was like going, as I turned the corner and then started to go down the stairs. And as I was walking down the stairs, because I think everyone does this thing. If you've got like a hallway or like a corridor you have to go down, you have that feeling like someone's fucking bombing it up behind you, and you just ignore it and just get back to your room as if nothing's happening. I had that, but it felt like someone was like trying to rush up behind me and intimidate me as I was going back, sort of like down to my room, and I was just playing cool, as if I wasn't bothered. I was bothered by it. And then I went to my room, closed my door, and I was just like, that's fucking weird. I've never experienced anything like that. Since that point, I've been having weird dreams and everything, like dreams that don't make sense and freaky shit, and waking up just like, whoa, what the fuck? But maybe this was it. We went too far. We have now been collected to something.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully that
make a nice
activity.
make a good video in the house.
Just see my Dr. Pepper. There we go.
Yes. It's all interesting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. No, but I'm looking forward to seeing what we go in the future, because I've got some cool ideas. I definitely want to stick with this conspiracy route because it's been fun to explore that side of things. And I think there's always a new theory popping up or some new haunted activity.
There's probably loads out there that that we ain't even covered. You know, like the Mandela effect and all stuff like that. There's all kinds of things.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because that's more like as creepy as it is. I think what makes the Mandela effect interesting isn't so much that things are changing and we recognise that. It's more like the things that would imply that's interesting to me. Like the idea of if there's this multiverse and we've switched a timeline and some of us still remember.
Well, some people think it's like when CERN was switched on, didn't they? And it's created like a parallel reality and stuff like that.
Maybe.
You never know. Who knows? They're messing around with
that'd be wonderful.
Forces that maybe these.
The Force.
Yeah, the Force.
We'll have to get more into stuff like that, and I definitely want to cover more conspiracy stuff. And next year, I want to do more bigger locations, so pubs and overnight things and cool things like that. Unfortunately, we did have an instance where, because I remember early on we put it out there to say, if anyone felt comfortable, us coming to investigate if they had like a home that was haunted. We had a couple of not leads, if you will, but a couple of opportunities to maybe investigate some people's places that they were having issues with haunted stuff. Not like we're Ghostbusters or anything, but we could have at least gone there and documented the space to see what came of it. And they just, for whatever reason, fell through, and it was a bit some dodgy situations kicking off there. go into a space and be like, oh yeah, by the way, you can't. This person can't know you're here, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. And I'm just like, are we going to get kidnapped and murdered and beaten and so on and so forth?
Yeah, we've had to put a disclaimer now of no serial killers or anything.
Yes, unfortunately we left that out last time. But if any of you do have haunted places you want us to explore, I'm a bit more dubious to do people's homes now, just because although we never had any bad experiences really, if I really think about it, safety wise, you know what I mean.
But definitely pubs and that. You know,
oh yeah, places that we can be traced to. We could definitely do that.
Don't tell them about our GPS trackers we've got on us.
Yeah, exactly.
That implanted.
They don't need to know about the air tags that we keep in every Unexplained Files hoodie. Once the channel's a little bit bigger, I'm happy to do more stuff like that. And we've had more experiences like going to indoor locations and investigating them. I think that'd be fine. But as for now, we'll just stick to pubs and inns and hotels and whatnot. And I think I'm gonna sit down and make a list of all the like potential locations we can go to start organising things. And I want to see more conspiracy theory stuff. I want to do more reacts to conspiracy theories, more case files about interesting happenings. So if you guys know of any locations for now in the UK that you'd love us to go and visit, let us know. Because
especially in the southwest.
Especially in the southwest, where we tend to be quite frequently. But anywhere that you want us to see that is within reach, we'll see if we can do that for you. If you have any conspiracy theories that you're a fan of right now, even if it's something as well talked about as the recent solar eclipse, or if you know of a person who knows of a guy who knew a guy that had this device that did this weird thing, feel free to let us know. I don't know where I was going with that. Well, we will research it and make some videos on it. If you want us to react to anything interesting you've seen, or maybe you yourself have got some strange recordings of evidence of lights in the sky or cups moving by themselves,
send them on to us so we can review them, react to them.
And if we do react to it, you know, you're happy to do it, you can sit on a video with us and tell us what you felt about what was happening and what you've noticed in that space, and we'll explore it a little bit further. Ultimately, we're here to document the unexplained. So if you have anything unexplained you want to share with us, feel free to do that. I think as much as we've yammered on a bit, I'm looking at the time, I can't quite see. I think we're closing in on an hour. It might be time to wrap up our...
From the Emporium.
Yeah, we need to... The Emporium calls us back, and our time let loose is running short.
The veils are closing.
Yeah, the veils are thinning, the eclipse is clearing, and we have no more power. The crystals need to be recharged. This chair, I need to get myself a better chair, because if I sit in this, watch...
You need one like this.
Yeah. I need a computer chair and an editing setup in my room. Folks, that was podcast number 3 now.
Yeah, this was just kind of a bit of a random one, just us chatting about our year so far, etc., and what we plan to do in the future. But we do obviously like having certain topic ones that we like to do, and also if you got any suggestions of a topic you want us to do a podcast on, let us know.
I have got an idea to make a podcast that's kind of themed about campfire stories, so that'd be a fun one. I'm just waiting for a friend to get back to me on that one and trying to organise that. So that'd be a cool one, I think. And I keep saying right now seems to be a good time for conspiracies, but it seems like all the time seems to be a good time for conspiracies. So, you know, we'll keep more of those coming, more case files if you want to see more of those. And even if you don't want to see more of those, they're going to keep happening, so sorry.
So get over
it. Yeah, get on with it and carry on. More investigations will be on the way. We'll be returning to our first ever investigation location. That'd be a good one. And good things ahead, I hope.
That will be in a week's time, actually, from when this goes out, won't it?
That'll be next week's big video. Yeah. So next Friday, you will see our year anniversary video. Fucking hell. That's petrifying. It's cool. We're still here. We'll see if we make another year, innit? That'd be good.
Hopefully.
But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed this one. If this is your first time watching and you're also still here, I'm going to assume you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to us chat for so long. We hope to see you again for sure. If you have any interesting things you want to share with us, some unexplained stuff that you want us to cover, leave that in the comments or email us at the email that is both in the description or I will put on the screen here, so you can send us stuff.
In the Emporium.
In the Emporium, yeah. We will document it in in our shortcut to the Akashic library that we have. I was looking that up the other day. I went down that rabbit hole. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. iCards with all of our other series, and we hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening. Peace.